So we got big plans today, don't we, girl? We got big plans today. At the moment, we're headed to town to mail some face masks and also, I guess, me and drop off some face masks that have been donated to a friend. So, priorities today. Getting tomato seeds. I started some seeds and realized I had no tomato seeds. Priority 2, buying flowers for our to put around our water fountain place. Anyway, those are just a couple of the priorities we have. Every day I try to think of something that I really need to get done. Not every day do I get to do it, but today we have a couple priorities, and that is starting tomato seeds and planting some flowers. So I just got the flowers put in. I only bought 1 pack of 4. But honestly, the flowers and the seeds and things weren't really the main focus of today's video. I keep talking about Chloe and last week being a hard week, and I'm really trying to figure out how to share this. I know I need to share it, and I initially thought, okay, I'm gonna do it on the live stream, but that don't feel right either. I don't feel like that's a good way to do this, and not put her on the spot, you know, on a camera live on the internet. So I'm choosing to do it in video form. Seems to be easier. Probably talk more freely. I'm not really sure, but that's really what this video is about, guys. The things that have been happening, how God pulled us through, and just a warning to you guys about the dangers of some of the apps, social media, and young children. So parenting this generation is really hard because we are up against the world, not only the world, but the internet. Back in December, I had found out that Chloe had been hurting herself. She'd been cutting herself and was suicidal. She had thoughts of killing herself. That was very hard to take in. So I called in some prayer warriors at our church to meet with us and to pray about this. And we slowly moved past it. Things seemed to be doing so much better, and she didn't have any signs of being suicidal or any signs of being depressed, anything like that. So it was Easter Sunday. We had an amazing day. If you guys watched our gathering video, family gathering video, you could see that we had an amazing day. And I went in to kiss her goodnight. She was playing with a puppy on her bed, just being her normal, cute little self. I went on to bed, and I ended up getting a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning from my ex-husband's wife asking me if Chloe was okay. And, you know, when you get those phone calls, you're not fully awake yet. And I thought, yeah, she's okay. And she said, are you sure? Can you go check? So I said, sure. Get up out of bed, go in her room. She looks like she's laying in her bed. She looks fine. Turn her light on, and I tell her she's in bed. She looks like she'd been asleep, but she hadn't been asleep, but she was in bed. And she said, okay, well, the cops are here looking for her because she posted a suicidal thing on Snapchat. What? Okay, so after the last incident, she no longer had an active phone. I took her phone, you know, we did all that kind of stuff. And gradually I started letting her have it back. She could only connect to Wi-Fi on it, and she was doing things like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok. Those are the three I know of. And it looks all cute. It looked all cute. She would show me some of the things, and I'm like, oh, that's cute, sis. Guys, that ain't cute. Those apps are not cute. We don't know what they're actually doing in those apps. I didn't know there was ways for these kids to have chat messages, to get on there and talk to other people. Okay? I didn't know that. I do now. So the cops were looking for her due to this thing posted on Snapchat. They told us to bring her to the ER, so we get her up out of bed. And I know I said this to her. I said, sis, you may not be coming home. It's like I already knew. I already knew that she might not be coming home. And she was crying, and she's like, Mom, I didn't mean it. I said, it's too late. It's already done. So we get there. Her dad goes back with her. Pat and I just stay in the waiting room. And this is 3 o'clock in the morning, guys. And they order her to a facility, a behavioral facility in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And they tell us that we can drive her, but she has to be there within the hour. So at this point, I knew, but I didn't know for how long. You know, I knew I'd lost her, but I didn't know for how long. So Pat and I rode with her and her dad to Fort Smith. We get there by this time we get there about 7 in the morning, and her dad signs the papers and takes care of all that. I just wasn't really emotionally stable to sign my daughter over. So we said our goodbyes, and left her. And I remember standing there with her dad and watching them walk her down this hall. And they told me that I could bring her clothes back, but then they had a limit amount of clothing that she could have, and restricted items. And so I came back home. Pat laid down because he had to go to work, and I took Cody with me, my other son, and we went and got her some clothes and took them back up there and dropped them off. And that was hard. I was still real emotional, and that's why I thought I needed someone to go with me. And we did fine. We made it back fine, but it was hard. And this was on a Monday, so it's like the beginning of the week, and I messed up my sleep, my eating, the worry and the stress, because still didn't know how long they were going to keep her. Still didn't really know anything. And on top of all of this, there was absolutely no visitation because of the COVID-19. We could only call, and we got about 10 minutes of talk time. So every day I would call her. Every day I would make sure she was okay. So it's a Monday morning, and we leave her. I take her clothes back up. I'll wait for her phone call, and she tells me she doesn't have pajamas. So the next day I get up, and I'm just all out of sorts. I get her some pajamas, and I grab her Bible, and I pray, and I text. I've already texted a few people to let them know to be praying about this, and I told them the situation. And I also told them to pray that they would let her have her Bible, because there were prohibited items. And I took it and I dropped it off, and then she said the nurse would determine if she could have it or not. And I found out that they did let her have it, so she was able to have that in her possession, because she was just in a room that didn't have anything, basically in a unit with the smaller children. They didn't put her with the teens, praise God. They put her with the smaller children. So during this week, I'm trying to figure stuff out, like what is going on, and I'm in the middle of trying to figure out where I missed it. trying to figure out how long she's going to have to stay in there, payment arrangements, medication. We opted for no medication during this whole process, and all these things. And so in my search, I found out that these girls, these kids, can, even though their phones aren't working, they can still communicate. They can still talk to each other. They can still do things. And we don't know that they're doing it. Okay? So I was watching some of the TikTok videos of the little kids and things. Guys, you need to check them. She's not going to like me exposing, but you need to check your kids' phones. You need to check their apps. You need to check the messages. You need to check all of that stuff. Okay? Because it's not like they're sneaking out of the house or running off or partying, but they're still doing things in secret in their rooms. Okay? Things that we don't know about. So one of the things I don't like is that on the TikTok app, you know, that they're remaking songs or whatever, and some of that stuff talks about I have anxiety, or talks about things that they shouldn't be saying. And we know how powerful words are. Life and death are in the power of the tongue. So if they're saying these things and they're singing these songs, even though they may not know what they mean, they're speaking that over themselves. So I don't know that they realize that. So that's just some of the dangers. So I'm urging you parents, it's not cute. It's not always like, oh, that's so cute. You've got to listen to the things they're saying. You've got to check their phone. You've got to look into the apps, and you've got to do a little bit of in searching. One of the things that I probably should have noticed was she had a lock on her phone. I couldn't get in her phone and without the code. So let that be like your first red flag. What's going on that you have to have a lock on your phone? And just be aware that this is happening. So through all of this, one of my drives up there, of course, you know, you pray over everything, and I felt like the Lord told me the winds of change are coming. Winds of change are coming. There needs to be a big change. There needs to be a big change on how we parent our children. It's a lot different, and I keep saying that, but it really is. You might think they're all snuggled in their bed, but actually they may not. When you go to bed, they may still be up doing things that you don't know that they're doing. And I'm glad this happened, because this is what the Lord I felt like He's told me. We all know that secret sins are exposed. As adults, we know that. But guys, in the times coming, He's trying to cleanse us and purify us for what is to come. And I really feel like He's doing that with our children too. If we're praying over them and we've given them to the Lord, I feel like He's going to start exposing them, especially those that are called, okay? So it's a good thing that her little secret sins that she was doing online have been exposed. And she's like this example now. I mean, I'm just exposing it. But it's good, because now there's cleansing happening, right? I will not tolerate the spirit of suicide. I will not tolerate the spirit of depression or anxiety. Those things, those spirits are not welcome here. So now I really feel like I need to warn other parents, other guardians, other people to be checking your kids' phone. Don't just let the phone babysit them like many of us do. Don't just think that they're just, you know, oh, they're occupied, it's fine, because we don't know what they're doing. So all the heartache and all the things that we went through last week waiting, God's working it out for the good. He really is. She was supposed to stay after, you know, a few days. They said, well, she's going to stay up to 10 days. But God cut that time down to 5 days. I got a call last Friday. They said, we're going to discharge your daughter tomorrow. What time do you want to come get her? And I was so happy. I was texting everybody, oh my goodness, Chloe's going to be released tomorrow. And we went and picked her up. We brought her home. We went and did a little fishing. I feel like fishing was good therapy. Just being outdoors, just being away from phones, tablets, computers, and things like that, which she doesn't have now. But it was just good to just go out and be and not have to worry about electronics, the internet, apps, anything like that. So, I'm going to let her share a little bit, and we'll see where this goes. I'm not sure how much she wants to talk about it, but guys, it's hard, and it's hard watching our children trying to grow up and find their place. We just have to help them the best that we can. Okay, so we've gotten situated. We decided to do it in her room. She's going to sip on some tea and we're going to talk a little bit. I know this is probably going to be uncomfortable. It's a little bit uncomfortable for me I feel like doing this to you, but let's go back to Sunday night when I come in your room and woke you up. What were you thinking when I told you we had the cops called, or the cops were called, and we had to go? How are you feeling?
Good. Right now?
No. When me and Pat flipped your light on and come in there and made you get up and told you the cops were called.
I was scared.
And did you think that they would take you away?
I thought they would like put me with a different family the way y'all were like describing it, and it scared me.
We didn't know what was going to happen, did we? When you posted it, what were you thinking? Were you in your closet when you posted it?
No, I was in my room.
So you weren't in your closet?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Were you just chatting with your friends? Because
No.
I've seen a lot of chat on there.
I wasn't chatting with them. Like, I was just laying down there in bed, and I had like, I think all my lights were off, right? Yeah, and I was just looking up at the ceiling, and then like all the words kept like popping up in my head, and then I just snapped.
And then you posted the little Snapchat.
Yeah, because I feel like I should tell my friends that I won't, no.
Like you told them goodbye, basically, and you
Yeah.
loved them.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I hear this, I automatically think of the spirit of suicide trying to come back on her, trying to revisit her, trying to... He knows her weakness. This thing knows her weakness, knows when to get her. And the time that it was is very important too.
Wasn't it 3 a.m.?
Well, you were doing this about 2 o'clock in the morning, so, but they called us at 3. So we get to the ER, they do an assessment, and we have to take her. And, what were your thoughts then, like, when you found out, like, oh my goodness,
Like,
going away?
I wasn't thinking that I would go away, but whenever they said that I was going to like a different place, I was shocked because I thought I would just go home, take a lecture, and get my stuff taken away.
Like last time.
Yeah.
But this time was more serious. So when we get to the facility, I really felt like, I thought, she doesn't belong here. You don't have a bad life. Like, she's not abused. You're not mistreated. She can go back and forth between my home, her dad's home. We have good communication. So I just couldn't understand why all this was happening. So we get to the place and your dad goes back with you and he signs you over and you're getting ready to be walked down that long hallway. You're getting ready to be walked back to wherever they're taking you. What were you thinking then?
Okay, so like their hallway was huge. It was like, I thought I would, like, this is literally what I thought. I'm like, oh wow, this is a big place. I don't know if I'm ready for this. I might be left on my own and have to like find like where my classes are and stuff, and like which dorm I have to go to.
Did you have groups? I thought on the paper it said you had groups.
Yeah, but instead she took me into like this small classroom looking thing, and everyone was like up at the table eating their breakfast. And
so talk about some of the kids that were in there that you said that they had really bad.
It was really bad.
Really bad problems. Some were foster kids waiting for homes. Some
A
were waiting for
foster
adoption.
kid, and then like one girl was waiting for adoption.
And the kids were Chloe's age and younger. They were younger. So when she told me she had a roommate finally, this roommate of hers was 10 years old. So guys, this isn't just like a little problem. I feel like this is a big problem. Not all of them were in there for the same thing, of course, but behavioral, depression, broken homes, broken families. That's why a lot of these kids were in there. They were abused. And so she got to see a whole new side of like what life could be. What life could be if she didn't have people that loved her and then cared about her and fought for her. Because these kids didn't have anybody fighting for them, did they? They were just in there waiting for someone to care to take them and adopt them.
My roommate, her mom just got aggravated at her for no reason. Like, she wasn't doing anything to aggravate her. Like, she was just in her room watching, like, YouTube videos, and then her mom called, like, the place, and, like, they took her there. And now she's waiting till 2 months to go back home.
That's a long time. So, what I tell her is, she's still having some bad dreams. So, she had one last night. And I tell her it's the devil trying to come into her mind. And he's still trying to play these games with her. And I think through this, you're going to have to grow spiritually. Like, your relationship with Jesus has got to be stronger so
I'm
that...
reading my Bible more at night and placing it under my pillow.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of, guys, if we didn't have Jesus through this, we couldn't have made it. It would have probably turned out, I feel like, a lot worse. Like, me, Patrick, and her dad would have handled this a lot worse. Praise God, this is a testimony, and this is getting long. I know this whole video is going to be long. We were in her dad's truck, and before we went in, he did fall asleep on the way there. She had been up all night. He wanted to stop and pray with her, so we did. Her dad held her, and he prayed with her before we even went into that place. If we wouldn't have had Jesus, I don't know how we would have reacted to her about this, or reacted to the situation. It could have been a lot worse. We wouldn't have walked into this tenderly, okay? We would have walked into it roaring and fierce and angry. And I did feel all those emotions, and they all were at different times. But I knew that we were dealing with the spirit of suicide, the spirit of depression, the spirit of anxiety, all of these things. And at this age, they don't understand what that is. They don't understand these feelings that they're having. And the songs that you listen to on the apps and things, the things that you sing, it seems innocent, but when you say these things, it invites that stuff to come into your life. So, still want you to be a teenager. I still want you to have a good time, but we just have to focus on... Well, keep you little girl as long as we can. I just want her to know and maybe be able to help others. I don't know where this is going to go, but I know things are going to change. And
I feel more safer in this room.
We switched her room. We did switch her room. There's a whole different story that we can't talk about on here because it would make the video long, but I know this spirit of suicide has been after my children because it tried to take my oldest son, and now it's trying to take my daughter, and it cannot have them. It cannot have you. In Jesus' name, right? So we're going to continue to pray. I told her if we do the live, the Let's Talk on Thursday nights, I'd like her to do it with me. I'd like her to be able to start reading her Bible and being able to teach it. Not teach it, but, you know, like apply it to her life and give it meaning. And if you ever were in a situation with your friends, then you could bring up a scripture or, you know, maybe teach them about it. I don't know. But anyway, okay, we're going to get off here.
I have one more thing to say.
Okay, yes, go ahead.
So, I'm a little scared now.
No, that's why we didn't do this on a live stream.
So, that's great. Okay. Oh, I remember. Okay. So, like, every night I kept praying. And even in the shower, I kept praying. And in class. Like, every day I was praying every hour.
She said they were like, the kids would cuss and fight.
Even the staff was cussing.
And it was just a hard environment because she comes from an environment that we don't talk like that. We don't act like that.
Or no disrespect.
Thrown into chaos.
They kept being very disrespectful and talking back. But anyways, I kept praying that the Lord would let me go home early and
And he
like
did.
pray over the kids and stuff.
Mhm.
And then whenever they told me that I was going home Friday, I was happy.
Right.
I was thinking the Lord again.
And I don't think he would have. I don't think that would have happened if you wouldn't have been praying and the rest of us praying that the Lord, you know, your time was done there, and he felt like you could be released. He heard your prayers.
I never had time to read my Bible there though. That made me sad. But I
you
did
had
place
it.
it under my pillow because that also helped me when I go to sleep.
But you had it with you, and I was thankful because I didn't think they were going to let you have it.
Me either. I was like, oh no, I need it.
Okay, that's just a little bit, guys. You know, it goes a little bit deeper, but the surface of it is be mindful. Be so mindful. This is serious, and I hate that this happened to our family, but, you know, the Lord exposes secret sin, right? And so he needed us to know what you were doing so that we could get a hold of it now before something terrible happened to you later. Does that make sense? So sometimes things are exposed, and when it's an exposure from the Lord, it's for your good. It's for your good. So that makes me think about my own life and think about things in my life. What do I need to get rid of? Lord, help us, cleanse us, make us pure and holy. And we can only do that through Jesus. So that's it. Is that it for you?
So far, yes.
Okay. Okay, guys, if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Continue to keep us in your prayers. If we decide to continue to do the live streams, probably going to do it with her so that she can get a feel and we can, you know, do some study together.
I'm going to eat this.
No.
I don't want it.
I'm going to cook some dinner. Okay, guys, I love you. Thanks for watching. God bless. Have an amazing day.